Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the refirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us, however you're getting us, picking us up on the internet or picking us up on radio, on the airwaves, or video on YouTube, which, by the way, everybody, the YouTube thing's going really well, and it's continually growing and growing and growing, and it really is a positive thing for us. So if you haven't checked that out, please do, tommattshow.com. You know, everything's on the website. Last week, Dr. Anthony Avellino was back. We talked about augmented reality and tech. You know, we do the performance living with Dr. Avellino because it's like, this is a new topic for me, and I'm doing another sort of a performance living topic today, Journey into Higher Ed with my student friend, Lucas Ring will be with me in just a second. But Tony was here. We're continually talking about reality and tech, and we've got so much going on, so much. We're going to talk a lot more about that today with my guest. My guest today is Lucas Ring. Lucas is at this point, a fourth-year student at Michigan State University studying psychology with a special interest in human performance and stress, supported by 2 minors in Spanish and resource management. It's a mouthful. Multiple international experiences, living all over the place, USA, Mexico, England, long durations, China, France, all kinds of stuff. Actively involved outside the classroom. I met Lucas a couple years ago, at the gym, as I do with many of my students that come on the radio program. He is the captain of the rugby club team at Michigan State University. He's quite the player. Just had a little meeting with his couple of his buddies at one of our lunches, and they're all talking about how they're going to miss Ringo. Ringo, we're going to miss Ringo. Well, yeah, he's got to go on and do more things. We're going to talk about what he's going to be doing here with his life, how he got into college, how he found himself at Michigan State. For you parents out there, you students, check this one out, because we're going to mix in a lot of college stuff along with stress, human performance, and psychology with my guest today, my brother, my son. I shouldn't call him a brother. He's more like my son, a son from another dad, Lucas Ring. Lucas, welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, thank you very much, Tom. Thank you for having me. I appreciate that.
My pleasure, man. You look good. Things sound good. How's your hand doing?
Yeah, doing all right. We had a tournament this weekend, and I didn't tape it up or anything, and so far so good. So no pain, no nothing. Just the usual soreness of hitting other people with no pads. So
the whole thing with your buddies over there at lunch last week was pretty interesting. But seeing the game, doing all that, we'll talk about all of that. You know how we do this thing now. I kind of gave you the lowdown. And if we come up on time, I'll just give you the little thing like this, right? And with my fingers.
Sweet.
But talk about your life. This is your life here. People who listen to the show have been listening to the show for 14 years now. Take it, man. Just take it. Tell everybody about you, your family, your siblings, if you have some. I don't know if you do or not. I don't think I've ever asked you that. But go right ahead and enlighten everyone.
Yeah, of course. So first of all, again, thank you very much for having me. I really
pleasure.
Do appreciate you letting me use your platform to tell my story and hopefully get some connections out there. So as Tom introduced me, I'm Lucas Ring. I'm a senior at Michigan State University studying psychology. I'm also an honors college student here at Michigan State.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm minoring in Spanish and resource management. I was born in Toledo, Ohio. I was there till I was around 8 years old. And then throughout my whole journey, my dad's work, we moved to Columbus, Indiana, when I was around 8 till I was 11. Then from 11 to 13, 14, I was in Brentwood, Essex, England in the UK. I went to Brentwood Senior School there, and one of the top 20, or I think now top 10 high school / middle schools in the UK. Then when I was 14, 15, I moved to Querétaro, Mexico. Went to the JFK American International School of Querétaro there. Started half my freshman year of high school. Then my family decided we should move to Houston, Texas. So I moved to Houston, Texas halfway through my freshman year of high school, and then finished out my sophomore year of high school there. And then when I was 16, I had a small stint opportunity to move and live in China for 4 to 5 months with my family. And then I made the decision to leave my family and continue my last 2 years, or in England, we call it college. So your junior and senior year of high school back at Brentwood Senior School, where I lived with a guardian family, and they're known as the Howards. So I lived with the Howards for 2 years there. Did a program called the International Baccalaureate program, completed that, and then found my way to Michigan State University. And I've been here. Funny enough, I was telling a buddy this the other day. This is the second longest place I've lived consecutively in my life, and that's only 4 years. So it's kind of crazy. Some of the things I love to do, as Tom has already mentioned, I love rugby. Rugby's been a part of my life since I was 10, 11 years old when we first moved to England. They saw that I used to play, well, as I call it, American football, but they said I played football. They're like, rugby's very similar. Figured out it's not similar whatsoever. Um, and from then on, I fell in love with the sport. Used to be one of the biggest kids in the grade on the team. Now probably on the smaller side of the team, but still have a huge impact as big as bigger guys. So I love rugby. It's always going to be part of my life. I'm sure we'll get onto this later, but I'm also in 2 labs on campus, psychology labs and physiology labs. I was in a third, but that one has stopped doing some research due to other things that have happened. I'm part of the adaptive sports team at MSU. I'm one of the able-bodied volunteers. So we do wheelchair tennis, basketball, hockey. And 2 years ago, I helped an individual. Her and I did a triathlon together. And it was her first time. And then past year, I didn't get to help her out because I was in an internship where I lived in France for 4 months. She ran our triathlon an hour quicker than she did the year before through our training program. Yeah, so really cool stuff. And then overall, I love Lego. You can't see it right now, but behind me, got a whole selection of Star Wars Lego. That's my creative side. Absolutely love that set. Got the skis right here. Love the skis. And just a kind of a goofy guy that's been around and loves meeting new people. So overall, that's kind of who I am.
Talk about your mom and dad a little bit. Give their names. Do you have siblings?
Yeah.
Mention names, man. You got about 3 minutes to go here, or a couple minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I have a mom and dad. My mom's name is Jennifer. My dad's name is Brad. My mom is a stay-at-home mother. And my dad works for a company called Webasto. And he is the CEO of the North Americas for that company. And they do the roofing of cars. And then my brother, his name is Zachary. He is at the Columbus College of Art and Design, aka CCAD, if you don't want to go for the long name. And he is studying product design and just kind of he really wants to go into board games, designing board games, designing video game characters. The best example for those who have seen it is if you watch The Mandalorian. At the end of the episodes, they always have scenes of pictures and art that they've based this episode on. He wants to make those pieces of art. He's absolutely loving it. Love the kid.
Did he play rugby as well, Lucas?
Of course, yeah. So he played rugby. He started at the age of 8, give or take, and he played everywhere we went. He's played in more countries for teams in different countries more than I have. So he's played in England, Mexico, the U.S., China, and short stint in Thailand. He's loved it. Going to university, a small arts college in Columbus, he's not had the opportunity to continue that. But I know that he still loves the sport and loves the community that rugby brings with it.
All right, hold that thought because we're going to come up on break here. My guest, let me reset this, everybody. Lucas Ring's my guest today. Journey into higher ed, stress, human performance, and psychology. So we got kind of a multiple thing going on here. I've known Lucas for several years now at Michigan State University. He is just one of the most dynamic young people I've ever met. I mean, he's just a great guy who's very, very smart, very hardworking, very, very diligent. Again, Tom Matt Show. Lucas Ring's our guest today. Stress, human performance, and psychology. We will be right back.
This segment of the Tom Matt Show is brought to you in part by The Source of Light and Power by band leader Archibald and broadcaster Mitch Anderson. Hear the sound that is endorsed by Odyssey headphones, linear tube audio, RME converters, and Peluso microphones at sourceoflightandpower.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Lucas Ring's my guest today. Stress, human performance, and psychology. Journey into higher ed. We haven't really talked a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about his journey into higher ed. There's so much more I want to discuss with Lucas about his studies and what he's learning about human performance and psychology and how it can affect your performance and stress levels. But before we go there, second segment is sponsored by Ameriprise Financial. Craig Stiles. Craig can help you plan for the life you want today and well into the future like he's doing for us. I'm telling you, financial fitness is one of our most popular next to, all of the mental health advocacy that we do on the show. But financial fitness is big and people like hearing Craig, and our views really reflect that and listening. Call Craig 1-800-528-1355, 517-483-4893. You can call or you can email craig.stiles@ampf.com. His offices are located at 2651 Coolidge Road, Suite 103, East Lansing, Michigan, 48823. Stations that have carried us do carry us. We're on the Michigan Talk Network, broadcast all over the Midwest. WGHN 92.1, WJIM 1240 AM in Lansing, WJRW 1340 in Grand Rapids, WKOQ 1490 in Muskegon, Whitehall, WIPV FM 94.5 in Mackinac City, way up north. And of course, we have other stations, but these are the ones I know about with the syndication. WKAR at Michigan State University. Go green, go green, go green, AM 870, and simulcast at 102.3 FM. Thank you again to Craig Stiles for creating Decideri Analytics, where we are making light of weighted decisions. And again, I want to thank Steve and Ivy Gruber for being so great, such good mentors to me as far as radio, putting us on the Michigan Talk Network for all these years. Thank you so much to them because they're awesome and we love them. All right, back to our show today. Lucas Ring is my guest, Journey into Higher Ed, Stress and Human Performance and Psychology. We're going to do a little chat on Lucas's path to Michigan State University. You just heard his wide-ranging story about his life, which is very, very interesting. His parents, your mom's Jennifer and your dad's Brad. Is that right, Lucas? Yep. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Zachary's his brother. So tell us about tell the listeners, in the beginning of this segment here, Lucas, about your decision and how in the heck you wound up coming to Michigan State. I mean, you've got a little bit of Midwest in you, but please tell that story, because this is one of the points about this whole series of episodes is you being the subject matter expert as a student and going to be graduating here very soon. How'd you do it? What made you come here?
Yeah, of course. So I think it really stems to my junior year of high school, summertime. Kind of the transition between junior and senior year. So in England, we call that lower sixth to upper sixth form. So during that time, in my school, we didn't have a lot of support for going to American universities. I was one of the very few American students at the secondary school. And so I kind of had to figure out myself. I had to figure out through my father with his knowledge, but he went to college 30 plus years ago. So I had to use that, trying to find stuff on the internet, YouTube. So that was quite difficult. So I kind of had a chat with my parents. We decided that I should probably apply this around 6 schools. And one of the big criteria for me was rugby. They all had to have some sort of rugby team. So the schools I applied to were Arizona, Wisconsin, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan State, and U of M. And I might be missing one, but yeah. So I got accepted into all of them except U of M, where I got waitlisted. But coming out of high school, as I mentioned before, I did the International Baccalaureate program, which is a global program. And my scores were in the top 5% of the world for the success rate. And that was.
And you still got waitlisted at University of Michigan? They are so dumb. I swear to God. I mean, here you go. Nothing against U of M and Go Blue.
Yeah.
Or whatever the other word is for Go something. But you guys missed the boat on this. Thank you for missing the boat on this one, because I got to meet Lucas. We're good friends now, and he's a great Spartan.
Thank you. Yeah. And we'll get on a little bit about it later on, about how all these experiences were like, these things were, I at the time I was devastated. I really was really upset about not getting into U of M, really wanted to go there. But how this path has worked out for me, I would not change a thing. And
Why is that? Tell the students why that is.
Yeah. So of course there's ratings, right? There's ratings to universities. U of M is obviously on academic level higher than MSU, and many different fields, whereas MSU has some up on U of M for that. For me, I realized that, if U of M doesn't think that I'm the person to be at their university, it probably means I'm not the person to be at that university. I was really upset about it, and me and my dad had talked. And one of the best pieces of advice that I've used a lot since then is you're never going to know the other side. You're never going to know that path because you're not going to take it. Now I can't say my time at MSU would have been better than U of M, or U of M, like my time at U of M was better than MSU, because I never had that experience of living and being at U of M. So really full on embracing what doors and put in front of you is kind of the biggest piece of advice I can give you. Put yourself out there, try to figure out how am I different than the rest of the population out of everyone that is there.
Instead of being the same. Yeah, because so many people want to be like, oh, I want to be cool like that guy over there. But I like what you're saying about just put yourself out there and be you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how we did my college essay was, obviously I have a diverse background. How can I make myself less unlike 90% of the people that apply? Then out of those, the 10% that are left, how can I make myself less than the 5%? And after that, how can I make myself the 1%? So this is a brief example, but for my essay, I talked about I've moved about multiple countries. That takes you down probably 80%, give or take. And then how do I define myself differently? I play rugby in multiple different countries. And then my last one is that I lived with a guardian family. So I moved by myself to a different family that I knew, but at the time they're not blood. So that separated me. I feel like separated me differently. Now again, I put my best self out there. U of M said, you know what, we don't think it's the best place for you. All right, let's go to my second choice. And if I had to go back, I think MSU would be my first choice, really. With knowing my experiences that I've had and the people I've met, wouldn't want to go back.
Plug, baby. There we go. There's a true Spartan for you. Let me reset this, Lucas. We're going to come up on break here.
All right.
Okay, so Lucas Ring's our guest today, everybody. We're doing our journey into higher ed because he is a graduating senior at Michigan State University. He's going to be going to grad school here. As the captain of the rugby team at Michigan State University, Lucas is a very high-performing athlete who knows what he's talking about. So not only can he apply the actual physical side of things, he can take the academic side of things, and that's where he's blending this together to create himself as a human performance expert and perhaps a psychologist down the road or whatever. He's networking with lots and lots of people out there. So we'll talk about that networking opportunities and something he just experienced recently when he went down to South by Southwest down in Austin, Texas, and met all of these superior human beings, I guess you could say. I mean, people who really get it. And you're going to get it because we're going to pick Lucas's brain on how do you get it? You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to our Segment 2 sponsor, Craig Stiles of Ameriprise Financial. For more information on services provided by Craig, please visit ameripriseadvisors.com/Craig.Stiles or by calling 517-483-4893. You're tuned in to The Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to The Tom Matt Show.
Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back in here to The Tom Matt Show. Appreciate you. Love you. You're awesome. Today's guest, Lucas Ring, Journey into Higher Ed, Stress, Human Performance, and Psychology. That's a mouthful. I've known Lucas for several years, as I've said throughout the show, and you're going to get some good info here. Just stick around here. Brock Fletcher and the selling team of Keller Williams Realty is our sponsor for the third segment of our radio program. Brock has been with us for years, just like Craig. It's Brock. Call Brock today, 517-853-6408. Or his cell phone number, and I'm going to say this twice because this is the number you want to use, 517-303-3262, 517-303-3262. You can go online at kwsellingteam.com, sell your home without hassles like we did. You've heard my story. You've heard my testimonial for Brock Fletcher and Mike Dedman. How you doing, Mikey? how they helped us, how they gave us basically free advice, made us a bunch of money, got us into a new place, downsized it. I mean, it's just been amazing adventure. And so that's why you want to call these guys. Again, 517-303-3262. That's Brock's cell phone number. Text him. Tell him you heard it from Tommy. If you say Tommy, he'll know it's from radio. And boom, that helps everybody. Most agents start marketing with them after you list. Brock does this way ahead of time. He's been marketing with us for years now because he wants to do the best for you, just like he did for us, just like he did for my former neighbor who listed his house and wound up getting him $20,000 over what he was asking. He asked me, should I put this on? And I said, I think that number's a little low. You might want to talk to the guy I trust, and that's Brock Fletcher. And guess what? There was no pressure whatsoever. He got the listing. There's a sign in his yard the next day. The guy got a relocation thing. He had to go quickly. New young couple. And kaboom, over, done. And next thing you know, a kid that I knew when he was 2 years old, lived across the street from me, is now living next door to me. And he's 30 years old. That's how life goes. Our guest today is Lucas Ring, stress, human performance, and psychology. All right, let's get into the stress, human performance, and psychology. Talk about the conference you went to in Austin. I misspoke and said it was South by Southwest, but I had got the Austin part right. Talk about that conference and what it did. Why did you go there, Lucas? And because you're very focused on what you want to do with the psychology and the human performance stuff and the stress. So what were you trying to achieve at that conference?
Yeah. So to put it in perspective, I think the best thing to talk about first off is goals for why I went to the conference. My first goal was to literally learn. It's kind of one of my life goals right now is just be a space where knowledge to be shared is knowledge to be welcomed. Really just learn. We can all learn. The second part was networking, just getting to learn about other people. Again, we're using learn, but know about other people, get to hear other people's stories. And share and have the opportunity to share your story. And that's kind of the biggest thing that was the goals of this conference. So kind of going on to the conference, I was going through LinkedIn one day and a mentor of mine, his name is Dr. Pete McKnight, and he put on his LinkedIn. He's a great guy. I've been talking to him for a few weeks now. Got introduced to him through one of my labs on campus that we'll get to later. But he put on LinkedIn, all my American friends who are interested in human performance should try to go to this event. And as an undergrad, I was like, okay, perfect moment. Let's go. Let's see what this is about. I go to it. Looks like you have to apply to be invited. And I was like, okay, we'll look at it. We go to the form. First thing after all your like name and everything is how much money does your company or revenue does your company bring in? First option is less than $1 million. And I go, damn, like, I don't know if I don't know. So I text Dr. McKnight. I was like, hey, do you think this is worth it even applying to? And he's like, if you're interested in that, man, like, go for it. Like, try it. It's not going to harm you if you don't get in.
That's a good tip for you to give to the students too, because this is something that you told me at the gym. It's like, don't be afraid to apply yourself, because if you don't tell people what you're trying to do, I tell people all the time when I'm coaching, you might have heard me say this at meetings or lunches or whatever. We've talked so much. It's like, if you don't tell people what you want, don't be mad when they don't call you or ask you for the date, right?
Yeah. And to put that piece of advice into like a phrase is that the first step is always the longest stride. I use this every time I moved. It's called the 30 seconds of confidence rule. It takes 30 seconds of confidence to either not make a friend or make a very good friend. Walking up to a person, leave all fear behind. What would you do without fear? And really going into that confidence and being like, hey, if this person like doesn't like me, they don't like me. Okay, move on. If they do like me, you never know, it could be a lifelong friend. So really, especially with my moving experience, where I have to make friends every 3 years, every year. It's one of the biggest piece of advice, especially coming to the university too. Just coming up, you go into a class, there's a lot of lecture hall seats, right? 500 person lecture hall, but there's open seats by themselves, or there's a seat next to someone. Hey, what's up? My name's Lucas. Are you here for this class? Boom. You start talking, right? It's just, you have to be the one to do that. A lot of people won't be if you want to be kind of successful in that way. And And it's okay if you don't do that too. Right? Every time you do it, it gets a little easier. I promise.
This is one of the reasons that we do our lunches, Lucas, and I invite you to lunches all the time because you like the networking, you like the camaraderie ship, and the people that you're meeting it's just incredible. And, I get a lot of intrinsic value out of it as well. And so it's like, I enjoy this. You have to make the effort, especially as being an older adult, reaching out to younger. I don't know if you were at the lunch when the guys gave me the nickname of the OG and I didn't know what it meant, and it's like, what? Okay. And then they were kind of embarrassed, Dallas was a little embarrassed, but I'm like, no, man, I looked it up and it was like, oh man, I think that's a huge compliment coming from you guys and wanting to get in with these men's group. You need to do these things. How many times have you seen at the gym people come in there and never talk to anybody?
All the time.
All the time. It happens constantly. And we're talking a college gymnasium. We're not talking like a big crunch where there's just multiple people from all over the place, working and all this stuff. No, we're talking everybody in there has something to do with this institution and they still don't talk to each other. So it's like, okay, but we did. And so we became friends. And so that was a very good tip. So what else happened over there when you were talking to Pete McKnight, which thank you for introducing me to him because he's going to come on the program. But the first step is the longest stretch. What did you pick up from that conference?
Yeah. So the first thing I realized when I got there was I was the only university student at that conference. Everyone else there was a CEO of a company, a big lab manager, or a founder of a company, or all three at one time. So I was automatically put into a position where I was like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? So I went in and it was incredible. I mean, there was about 4 panels. The first panel kind of talks about what human performance is. Second one was about nutrition. Third one was, which is one of the real reasons I went, was cognitive performance and human performance. And the last one was an interesting topic about the idea of doing UFC in space with zero gravity. There, I got to meet multiple astronauts, multiple Air Force members, a flight surgeon who completes surgeries either in space or on an aircraft. Got to hear incredible people talk. I got to hear about quantum computers and how they're kind of just around the corner and we don't even know about it. So it was really fascinating. I know on my LinkedIn, I've posted quite a few notes about that. But some of the stuff that's just incredible things that we don't think about. But some of the highlights for me, which I've posted.
Hold that thought, because we're going to talk about all of this technology coming up here. And I only got a couple minutes going here. Let me reset this thing. Lucas Ring's our guest today, everybody. We'll talk about all this because that's where I wanted to go with Lucas. He's going to explain to us where the technology is going, kind of tying in with what we talk with Tony Avellino, but it's in a much better, much broader scale here with Lucas because he just went through this conference. And this is what he's studying in college. Not only that, he's got some things to say about the labs that he works in and that are very important to understand because he's doing some motorsport stuff. And it's very, very interesting. Once again, Lucas Ring's here. Stress, Human Performance, and Psychology. This is a journey into higher ed. And this is the Tom Mann Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Mann Show.
Welcome to the Tom Mann Show.
Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back in. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Lucas Ring's my guest today, everybody. Stress, Human Performance, and Psychology. Lucas is a honors student at Michigan State University, graduating this spring. Going to be sad to see him go, but we'll still be in contact because this guy's going to be famous. I'm telling you right now, this guy's going to be massively just impactful to the universe. And you know when Steve Jobs said that thing about make a small dent in the universe or make a dent in the universe, this guy's going to make a dent in the universe. The people that I hang out with, these students that I come to be friends with at the university, at the gym, look out. But they need our assistance because they need to network. They need to meet people. So pick up that thread, would you please? We're talking about technology and all the things you're learning, Lucas, at your conference. We haven't really got into your specifics of education yet, but let's finish the thread on the wearables because there's a lot to that conference. I mean, please just continue that whole, what did you learn?
Yeah. So as I was kind of previously saying, a lot of us nowadays, we wear what we call wearables. So watches, I won't use the big corporate names, but rings that track your sleep, bands that track your steps, big watches that tell you when someone's calling you on your phone. We wear all these wearables and we think it's like, and it's great. It's great. It brings health care. It brings a lot of a different aspect of healthcare. So a lot of different people that can afford these things. So you don't need to go to the doctor to constantly check your blood pressure sometimes. You don't need to go to and pay a bunch of money to just get your vitals checked. Don't need to go to a sleep study to see how you're sleeping. So there's great ways of using these tools that we have access to. However, there's a new psychological disorder coming out. The name it didn't stay with me in my head, or it wasn't mentioned. But what they're finding with people trying to sleep and tracking their sleep is that people want to get better sleep. We have stress, more anxiety nowadays. We want to sleep better. We want to sleep more with higher quality. And these wearables tell us how much deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep, all these different types of sleep that we're getting. And what they're finding is that people are using this and trying to sleep harder. They're wanting to do more things to sleep better. So they have we have this idea of this 30-minute nightly routine, all right, put all your devices away, read a book, calm, let yourself go. That's really good. But when people start to we call it physical arousal, they get physically aroused to sleep, AKA they're almost warming up to go to the gym to warming up to go to sleep. We're finding that it's causing worse quality of sleep, shorter duration of sleep. And then it makes a vicious cycle. They're getting worse quality sleep, worse duration. So then they try harder to sleep and it just keeps going and going and going.
So let me ask you a question. Now, what you're saying is some of the things that you've read in the studies that the wearables could actually cause worse sleep. Is that what I'm hearing?
So the wearables themselves won't, but the
thought of?
Yeah, the thought of overanalyzing your data. Yep. So that was really interesting to me.
Do you believe that's true?
I mean, I see it with myself. You see that for example, when I go for a run, I think about, if the people that are watching my Strava, even though I might have 13 followers on Strava, close friends, I'm thinking, okay, everyone's going to hope that I'm doing better. And if I don't do better, they'll be like, oh, well, he's not doing well, but I need to go for a light jog one day and I need to maintain a 10-minute mile pace. I need that. But in my head, I'm like, no, I got to push it because I got to look a bit better. So there's stuff like that. Definitely sleep. I get 21 minutes of deep sleep. The next day, I'm like, okay, I got to get a lot more deep sleep. And then I wake up the next day and I get 11 minutes deep sleep because I'm trying to sleep harder, which is an interesting way to put it.
You're planting the seed in your mind. This is so interesting, Lucas. This is where I like your psychology angle of the performance because you're trying to do the right thing. You're you have the right tool to enable you to track the metric, but tracking the metric gets your brain thinking too much about the metric. So
exactly.
You have the vicious cycle going on where you're trying to do a good thing. I'm trying so hard to do a good thing. I'm trying so hard to do. It's like the little engine that could. I think I can, and then you don't. It's like you're trying too hard. That's so interesting. I have interviewed so many doctors, so many Alzheimer's, dementia, all kinds of experts on this. You are spot on. Sleep is one of the biggest components to having a quality of life that there is. No question about it. When people ask me as a trainer, Lucas, what's the best way to lose weight? I'll tell them the simplest thing is sleep better.
Yeah.
Lower the cortisol, right?
Yep. Yeah. And one of the biggest things, so listeners, you might be asking, well, what do I do to improve my sleep? And I will say, I'm not a doctor. I don't have that sort of knowledge. But one of the people on the panel, he's a true specialist in this area. And he said, one of the best ways is to keep recording your sleep because that's really good for you to record, but set a reminder on your phone every 2 weeks to have a look at your graphs. But okay, well, on this day I didn't do as well. All right, so we're still in our normal range. We're doing all right. This day was bad because as soon as you realize, okay, if you go the next morning, you're like, okay, this was bad, then what's most likely could happen is that the following day is going to be worse and worse and worse. So set a long time period between you looking at that data and then advise what you should do from there.
That is a very, very, very good idea. And here's something else, everybody. When you have Lucas Rings, our guest, by the way, stress, human performance, and psychology. The other thing you can do is average out. So that tip that Lucas just gave us about averaging out your metrics for your sleep, do the same thing with all of your work, especially like if you're weight training or if you're weighing yourself daily. I weigh myself daily. And when I was training for an event, I would take a weekly average because you're not going to have the perfect day. So then you don't want to start off your day with a bad thing, right, Lucas? I mean, so that's what you're saying. Average it out so that you can get the median and you can and stack it up that way. What else did you guys talk about over there? I mean, I got a lot on my notes, but you tell me what was impactful to you. What did you really take away that was so cool?
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that kind of goes back to my summer internship. So this summer I went to Paris, France for a 4-month internship with a company called Insignium, and they're a management consulting company that more look at how do you align your employees towards one common goal. And with this internship, I had the opportunity to co-author with Guillaume Pagiot a 26-page white paper about how do we make AI make us more human. It's very, very different than what a lot of the media look like about what AI is with humans. So at this conference, I got the really unique opportunity, whole range of panelists, but one of the panelists that I talked to afterwards, her name was Dr. Amy Smith. She's a CEO and founder, I believe, of a company called Blank Slate. And they're using AI and our cognitive functioning to basically enhance human efficiency within workplaces, teams, and groups, which is fascinating to me. I'm an advocate for AI for definitely in certain realms. And looking at Tom's face, I'm assuming we're going to get into that a little bit. So really just looking at how AI can really increase human performance. Where can it understand where we're missing gaps of knowledge or cognitive function within ourselves, especially in our team. So the example Dr. Amy Smith gave was you have 6 people in your company. You're trying to improve a product. How can we use AI to find the missing information and knowledge within those 6 people, and they can provide it, and then we have a full team working at 100%, not 96. So those little percentages do matter at the end of the day, and using AI to do our repetitive and low motivational or low effort tasks is kind of how we can use AI to combine with cognitive functioning. So that was really fascinating.
AI is going to change everything. And Dr. Avellino, we talked about this. Lucas Rings, our guest today, everybody. Stress and human performance and psychology. AI is peeling back the onion on looking at the very minute, tiny things and picking up on the tiny, tiny things. Because like Dr. Avellino has said on the show, Lucas, there's so much material being published daily that it's impossible. It's impossible to keep up with all of this information, and it's getting more and more robust. So AI is going to take away a lot of that grinding out, searching work that's going to go on. Okay, I got a minute to go before we go to break here, and we got the last segment coming up. Take 30 seconds to set up what you want to talk about to close this bad boy down, because AI is where we want to go, but let's talk about just set it up, tell people why they want to come back. What is the point that you want to make with the AI? It's like...
All right, so the biggest point for me is, we say this in our white paper, Guillaume and Pagiot and I, we say it takes you 40 hours to budget a budget, but with AI, it's going to take you 5. How do you explain or validate 35 hours of your salary?
Just keep that thought right there, because that is exactly where we want to go. If you can take a 40-hour work week, compress it down into the 5-hour work week, there's plenty of famous books out there with that title, the 5-hour work week. These are the types of things that are going to help us eliminate stress, help us become better human beings, and adapt to what works for the individual. Because AI can also help you know what medications, so many things. We'll talk about it all when we come back. Again, Lucas Rings here, stress, human performance, and psychology. This is the Tom Matt Show.
For more information on the Tom Matt RFZ mentality, please visit our brand new website at www.tommattshow.com. Subscribe to our podcast via your favorite podcast platform. Visit our brand new YouTube channel for consistently motivating messaging. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back. Our guest today is Lucas Ring. You can call him Dr. Lucas Ring here someday. Guy's amazing. Stress, human performance, and psychology. Journey into higher ed, but it's much, much more than that with today's episode. More about the human performance and the psychology of it. And we're going to talk about some AI things and why AI is going to be so impactful. And this is coming from a young man's perspective who's really embedded in this stuff. Remember to get a hold of us at the radio program, TomMattShow.com. All of our stuff's there. Everything. You've got the click-throughs for all of the podcast aggregators, all of our YouTube stuff there, all of our social media is there. Everything's there. It's one-stop shop, and go there. And all the episodes are there. There's 12 categories. Check them out. Whatever floats your boat, you might find something you like in there. Away you go. Lucas, how would you like people to connect with you? I mean, you're getting ready to graduate. You're going to be doing some work all over the place. Please take your time. Give everybody your phone number, your email, whatever you prefer. Speaking engagements. Put yourself out there. Go right ahead.
Yeah, so the best way to contact me, just for discussion, networking, and for advice on how to get through college, decisions for college. The best way to contact me is through my LinkedIn. Look up Lucas Ring, and it should come up with honors psychology major at Michigan State University or something along that lines. If you would like to email me, it is lgring3@gmail.com. And yeah, those are the best ways. I'm open to discussion on any of these topics. I'm looking to always learn. So please reach out to me. Let me
before we jump back into the conversation on the AI stuff with Lucas, let me say to you all, especially you younger people out there, because as part of my coaching, I always talk to students about LinkedIn. I'm amazed at how many students don't have a robust LinkedIn profile. It's like, it's free. It's a nice tool. It takes time to build these things out. So get on it. I mean, you should start your LinkedIn profile when you're in high school. You should start it when you're a freshman in college. You should not wait until you're because there's groups, there's all kinds of things out there, and there's people to meet. Take Lucas's word for it. I don't know if you'd have met Pete McKnight through anything else unless it was LinkedIn, but you're going to meet so many people out there. It is going to change your life. All right, let's get back into it now with the AI and all of these good things, because as Dr. Avellino has told me, Lucas, it's some of the diagnostic tools that come along with AI are so incredible. Like you're saying, with compressing that work week, if you could take a radiologist who spends 50, 60 hours a week looking in a dark tunnel at images, but you can turn an AI and then the doctor can go in and check it, pick it up from there, bro. 5-hour work week. I like it.
Yeah. So kind of going off what I said before, it's how do you explain your 40-hour work week when AI can help you go down to 5? And it took a lot of brainstorming. What's the answer to that? And it kind of comes down to human nature. Is we can either do nothing, we can kind of sit at our desk, be lazy, or we can be creative. And I'm sure there's some listeners listening that think, I joined this company, wondered, had a bunch of innovation, bunch of ideas, but I just don't have the time to do it. I don't have the time to add to this project or do something I want to do. But with AI, you're going to have that time. You're going to have you have that space for creativity. There are some companies, I believe Microsoft is one of the leading ones, that gives their employees 3 days out of the year to do whatever they want. And if they like what they code, what the program they make, Microsoft buys it and they get a percentage of the profits off it. And what they see is that motivation throughout the year goes down, and then these 3 days comes right back up, and it goes down, and it incrementally goes up every time. So things like that, where AI can really help us become more human, be more innovative, is what companies want nowadays, instead of having the kind of go with the flow or business as usual. So it's really, really interesting stuff.
Very, very interesting stuff. Lucas Ring's our guest today, everybody. Stress and human performance and psychology. How are you utilizing the AI tools in your research at the lab, the performance, the driving lab, the car lab? I'm losing my thought here, but you know what I'm talking about. Please explain that lab that you're involved with the race cars.
Yeah, so at Michigan State University, I'm involved in 2 labs. The one which, Tom, you're mentioning is called the Motorsport Lab, the Spartan Motorsport Lab, Physiology Lab on campus. That is led by Dr. David Ferguson. He is one of the pioneers slash forefront slash only one or two researchers within motorsport physiology that I know of. There are less than, I found out this the other day at our lab meeting, there's less than 50 peer-reviewed articles, and Dr. Ferguson has the majority of those articles, which is why we're really interested in looking into that. So more specifically to what I do at the lab, due to purposes of keeping confidentiality, I will only speak a little bit about it. But what we're trying to do is there's no literature or very limited research on the brain activity and mental effort there is going on in a driver's mind or through their brain activity whilst they're doing driving either on the course or a simulator. So we are attempting to use what is called an EEG, which looks at the electrical brain activity of your frontal cortex, or your cortex, so just kind of this is the top of your brain, and this the surface of your brain, if you will, and looking at the electricity going through that, which correlates to your brain activity and how much your brain is working. So we're using that currently we're attempting to use with drivers in simulators right now. So that's fascinating stuff. We got our EEG system in last Friday, and we got to play around with it, and pretty awesome stuff what we're finding so far. And then the other lab that I'm on campus with, and before I move on, I found Dr. McKnight through that lab, through Dr. Ferguson. He said to reach out to him in a company called Hinsta. So I reached out to Dr. McKnight, and he's become a really nice mentor so far. I'm excited to see where that relationship and that connection goes. So for the other lab that I'm on campus is called the Clinical Psychophysiology Lab. Again, we're using physiology with psychology here. And with this one, there's multiple different projects. This has a few different grad students, but the projects I'm more specifically focused on, there's a study, right now it's a survey study looking at anxiety, sport-related stress, and general anxiety through esports athletes and NCAA athletes, and seeing like how it differs from the like normal, quote unquote, normal population. And the other the other study that we're looking at is about distant self-talk. So how do we talk to ourselves and what emotions we feel? And with this lab, that I just said, we're doing actual EEG with 64 electrodes placed on the head, which takes about 30 minutes to administer. But it's really, really interesting stuff. And that will start up sometime soon, as soon as we get IRB certified.
How far along do you think we are on the continuum of the human performance, Lucas? Are we reaching the pinnacle of it? Are we approaching the pinnacle? What was your opinion on all this?
So this is actually a really interesting point, Tom. I'm glad that you brought this up. So you think about things like motorsports. How fast can we actually make a car go? And we're kind of getting to a point where it's kind of flatlining a little bit. You know, these cars are going really fast. And the whole point of Dr. Ferguson's research was that they were finding that drivers were becoming heat exhausted. So there was some drivers reaching up to 40 degrees Celsius, which is, you need to be in a hospital right now. And they would just kind of walk it off, but they would complain about symptoms. So that's what that lab really focused on. But how can we get a human to perform even higher than at a higher rate, increase their performance than the performance of a car? So that's a very basic. The car is only going to get incrementally faster. How can we make humans think faster, act faster, do things faster,
perform better?
So at the end of the day, perform better. So it's really, now for the question, if we're at a pinnacle, I think we're reaching with AI right now. We're going to be reaching a peak, but I think it's going to shoot off right again.
Well, if people don't understand what quantum mechanics are and quantum computing, stick around because let me tell you something. I've read some stuff on this, and if you think AI is over the top, you ain't seen nothing yet, baby.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I think we're getting closer to the pinnacle. And what we may have here, Lucas Ring's our guest today, everybody. Stress, human performance, and psychology. I think we're going to have multiple mountains. We're going to have multiple higher levels. We're going to hit the top. Then we're going to have that bell curve. Then we're going to go back up again and that's just the nature of everything, right? Hey, we got to get a takeaway here because we're almost out of time here. What would you like to leave the listeners with for your first visit here, bro. And I definitely enjoyed your company today, and I thank you for coming on. What would you like to leave the listeners with? Give me a 1-minute takeaway.
Yeah, I think this 1 minute kind of takeaway I think really represents and can be applied to everyone that's listening. I put it in my LinkedIn post, and I'm kind of liking the quote, so I'm going to stick with it for a while. It's okay to be a sapling in the large forest. It really is, like, especially with those that are going into college, looking into different careers. Just be ready to learn. Be a sapling, absorb that water, absorb that knowledge, grow, watch the other trees grow in front of you, and encourage each other. The human performance field is something that's growing, especially mental health. Just, man, if someone's meeting expectations, congratulate them. If they're not, keep pushing them up to meet those expectations. That's what we love.
Raise other people's boats. That's what we do here. That's what I do when I coach. That's what we do the radio program for. And that's the name of this game. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests, topics, and issues. Amazing interview. Guy's never done this before. He's awesome. We're going to do this again. Sponsorships are available. Ad packages are available. Just email us. Go to the website, contact box, away we go. Oh, this is my takeaway. This is my sentence that I use every show. You guys know this. Lucas is going to hear it now. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Thanks again to my friend Lucas Ring. The guy's awesome. Everybody that listens to the show, Sandy, Craig, Brock, all of you, all the students that have been with me. We'll talk to you next weekend, everybody. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Last, I'd like to say thank you to our production staff, Mitch, Anderson, and Vanessa, taking care of video production for us. We are out.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Ark of All.